What's going on, guys? So while Russ goes on in the background, I figured I would give y'all a little glimpse of a new series I'm about to release. So this series is going to be urban legends and the stories behind the creatures. Let me know what you think of it. I really am excited about this. I think it's going to be awesome. Just be sure to let me know what y'all think of it. And without further ado, we'll get started. All right, so the story is about the preacher and the weeping angels. So legend has it, this preacher comes to the church getting ready for Sunday ceremony, and he notices a strange statue behind the altar. And he's never seen this statue before. He does not know where it came from. He figures maybe it's one of the fellow church members may have left it as a gift, but he finds the angel with her face in her hands kind of disturbing. As the preacher walks up on this statue, he notices that he cannot see any distinctive features on this angel's face. Her face is buried into her hands so closely that he can't tell if there's even a face to this angel. The preacher continues to look over the angel to see if he could find maybe a note or someone had left some kind of trademark so he would know who it came from. But for some reason, the longer he looks at it, the more scared he feels and the more dread he has looking at it. He finally comes over the feeling and tries to move the statue, but notices that it is not budgeable. He cannot move it at all. So he feels like he would just wait for another church member to come and help him move the statue away from the altar a little bit so he can continue on with the Sunday preachings. So he continues on making sure all the stands are clean and making sure everybody has their Bibles set in the front of them. And as he's going down the aisle, he feels like something's watching him. This feeling that someone's watching him just starts getting worse and worse. And he feels like something is right behind him, breathing down his back. He jerks around to look back at the altar and to observe the statue once more, and notices the statue is now at the bottom of the stairs, still with the face buried in her hands, but the statue has been moved. The preacher's heart skipped a beat as he noticed that the statue has been moved, but he didn't hear anybody come in. He doesn't know how this statue could have been moved because he couldn't move it by himself. He goes back down the aisle to inspect this statue once more. He wants to know, how can the statue move when there was no one here? He's looking over the statue once more. The face is still buried deep in its hands, but still and yet he has this eerie feeling behind his back that he's still being watched. And he doesn't know why. The preacher tries to move the statue once more and notices that it's unable to be moved. It's impossible for one man to move this heavy statue. So he doesn't understand how it could have moved from behind the altar to in front of the altar now. But he thinks he might be losing his mind, so he continues going to make sure the church is prepared. It is getting close to ceremony, so he thinks nothing of it. As the preacher continues to clean up the church and make sure all the aisles are clean, he suddenly hears footsteps. Finally, there's an answer to why this statue moved. He looks around and tries to find the assailant that's making the footsteps, and notices that the statue has moved even closer down the aisle towards him. Concerned, he goes looking around the church. There's got to be culprits. There's got to be someone playing a prank on him. He looks all over and checks in every stall trying to figure out how is this statue moving when he just heard footsteps. The preacher can't find anything. Doesn't understand how this statue is moving, but cannot find the assailant that's making the statue move. He knows it has to be two people at least that are moving the statue, making him feel uneasy. He continues on cleaning the church It's he thinks to himself, there's no time to play these games. I have to get this church ready. People will be showing up soon. So he continues to clean the church, not thinking anything of the statue anymore. But he suddenly feels this eerie dread rush down his back again. He feels like something's watching him. He knows the assailants that are making the statue move around are watching him, playing jokes on him. He ignores them. He keeps continuing to clean up because he knows that his guest will be there shortly. As he continues to clean, he can hear the footsteps gaining closer and closer. The loud thumping sounds like it's someone big. Suddenly, the preacher hears a knock on the door and goes to the door to answer it. The guests have finally arrived for church. As the preacher walks for the front doors, he can hear the footsteps sound like they're chasing him, getting closer and closer. He jerks back to catch the assailant, and yet the face that he saw was not what he was expecting. The church goes quiet. The knocking of the door persists. Ruckus outside. The church members have finally arrived. They're waiting on their preacher to answer the door. The guests wait for a few minutes and think that the preacher might be busy, so they go ahead and open the doors. As the doors open slowly, they notice the weeping angel sitting there in the center of the aisle, right close to the door. There's no signs of the preacher, but yet the angel is still holding her face. So that was a story to kind of creep y'all out. That's my own personal urban legend of what I know weeping angels to be. With that being said, I'm going to just go ahead and give y'all a real quick biology on what the weeping angel really is. A weeping angel is a statue of an angel with her face covered, but yet she moves when she's not being seen. They're very, very creepy. All the stories and all the times I've ever played games with them, seen them, or whatever, of course, it's an urban legend, so the stories are going to change. Every time I look something up, they change. Anyway, prioritize that with the weeping angel is more or less, I wouldn't consider them just a demon straight out, because what the weeping angel does is when they are glared at and you see their face, it's almost like a version of Medusa. So instead of you freezing into stone, you disappear. You fall out of this time and go into the past. And they are able to live out the remaining of your time while you live out the rest of your life in kind of what most people find as purgatory. It's living out your past in a repeating succession of a different era. It's a very interesting creature. I mean, the biology behind them, it's insane. People thought this as a creature for movies and stuff. The urban legend goes far back, really far back, but they actually made a movie of The Angels Take Manhattan. That took it a little to the extreme because they are basically portraying that these weeping angels can take over any huge statue. And I guess they just don't understand that the Statue of Liberty is actually metal. So there's that. But it's insane to think that these urban legends started and go so far without losing what they really the attack of what the legend is, I guess. But basically, the weeping angels were these statues that looks like an angel that is holding her face, but when not seen, the angel will stalk and hunt victims Same thing goes for the baby angels that people see. Now, this is even more creepy. The baby angels that people have, it's, you know what I'm talking about. It's a baby angel. So the baby angel would cup their face, but when not seen, they heard baby footsteps and giggling and sound like kids in child play. But the baby angels, from what I've seen and read and all this and that, the baby angels were a lot more fierce, and when you actually looked back, they would snap your neck because they knew they was too small to take you and throw you into that other dimension, so they just snap your neck. It's gory. It's insane to think. I'm not going to get into the whole time thing because I'm going to leave that for another video. But this has been awesome to kind of talk with, and I'm big fan on urban legends and just things that make your thoughts really wander, you know, because in something like this, there is no right or wrong. No one knows what the original would be because these stories carry on for decades, and that's why I wanted to make a series. Y'all leave in the comments what y'all think. Tell me another urban legend or maybe a myth or a thought or anything like that. Tell me one and I'll think about it. And I hope y'all do the same. Anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and be sure to hit that bell notification next to the subscribe so you're notified when I upload. I'm sorry my upload schedule's been a little freaky, but I'm trying to fix that. But without anything else to talk about, I will see y'all in the next one. Thanks, guys.